Hey, ladies, welcome to The Power of the Ask, the podcast where we ditch the waiting and embrace the asking for what we truly deserve.
Welcome to The Power of the Ask.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Power of the Ask podcast, the podcast that helps you get what you need financially and personally. We are so glad that you're here today. My name is Lisa Zeiderman, managing partner of Miller Zeiderman, and I am one of the co-hosts with my dear friend, Precious Williams, the killer pitch master.
I love it. I love it. I love it, Queen Lisa. And I am Precious Williams, the proud founder and CEO of the Perfect Pitch Group. And welcome back. Today we have Tina Powell, who is a digital marketing trailblazer with over 20 years of experience in financial services. As Chief of Community at Intentionally, which has revolutionized marketing for fintech and financial services companies, Tina founded the C-Suite Social Media, which intentionally acquired and hosts a renowned podcast, In the Suite, highlighting women's leadership in finance. She holds a master's degree from NYU in graphic communications management and technology, and a Bachelor of Science in business management from Fairleigh Dickinson University. Whoa, she's smart and she's creative. Welcome, Tina. We're so happy to have you here with us today on the Savvy Ladies podcast, Power of the Ask. So share with us your journey on becoming Chief of Community.
Yeah, so it's an amazing journey, one that I'm ever so grateful for, as well as being here. So thank you, Precious, for the question and that amazing introduction. And to you, Lisa, I'm huge fans of the work that you both are doing here at Savvy Ladies, and especially with the podcast. You know that I've been following it for years and supporting it. Savvy Ladies is just an incredible organization. So leave it to you two to have this podcast. What drew me to Intentionally was my business partner, Kelly Waldrick, who created Intentionally, founded the company just 3 years ago. And I knew that she had something really, really special here. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. So her and I had a lot of conversations before me joining Intentionally. And she'll tell you that when we first had the conversation, I was like, oh, no, not now. It didn't feel right to me at the time because I didn't know enough of what she was creating. And then I saw the vision and I felt the vision and I felt the power was like a divine force that guided me here. And she acquired my prior marketing agency, C-Suite Social Media. And so now I'm just about on my second year anniversary. And my business partner she's an incredible leader. She knows how to build high performing teams of lots of people. She deals with complexity rather well. And so you look to join a partner with someone that has complementary skill sets. And so, Kelly filled in the gaps for the things that I was never going to be able to do well. So I'm a great person to plug into an organization. But I let's leave the CEO hat to her. I'll just put it that way. Marketing agencies are not for the faint of heart.
So, it's interesting because you're a very creative person, and usually creativity and finance aren't necessarily something that are a match made in heaven. That's my experience, right? We look at people who are very artistic, and sometimes they really don't have the head for finance, etc. But you obviously focused on the financial services sector. So, what inspired you to hone in on this particular type of sector?
Yeah, I agree with you there, Lisa. It's not for creative people. It's not necessarily the first place where you would go. And the reason why I was drawn to financial services is from growing up in a single parent household. So my mother was on her own. She worked 2 jobs. She was a psychiatric nurse in the morning. Then I watched her come home and put on an apron and go and work as a waitress in a restaurant. And so coming from what I'll say, a life of just struggle financially, I knew that if I wanted to overcome that, that there were, many things that I needed to know. And if you want to become financially independent, financially empowered, you have to know something about money. And so I said, I'm an amazing marketer, proud of that graduate degree at NYU, self-funded. Thank you very much. And I kept my GPA super high so that I had fellowship support as well too. That took 5 years actually to earn that. And so I've always felt that the best way to get a financial education is by joining a company, by joining a wealth management firm that does it every day. And I figured there would be a byproduct of learning if I was in that environment. So they needed marketing support to help. They also needed administrative help. And I wasn't too proud to say, hey, you want me to answer a phone? I'll do it. You want me to set up a conference room? I'll do it. Whatever's necessary. No job was too was out of my reach. And I felt just very privileged and honored to be working in a wealth management firm that managed the portfolios of some of the richest people in Bergen County, New Jersey. And that made me smarter. Yes, I've done a lot of schooling. I have to tell you, on the job training is an amazing empowerment tool. You sit and it has to do with the company that you keep. And I knew that I was going to work with an A team of performers, and there we go. It was amazing.
Good for you.
I love that you just talked about watching your mother struggle and how you were determined to learn about money, even though you are creative. And I know for a lot of people, when they start talking numbers, dollars and cents, there's a tune out. It's overwhelming. It's really too much. What really drives your passion for supporting wealth management and being in the fintech space? And then what are some of the key things that institutions need to know to thrive in this digital age?
So the way that I coin it, I have my own vocabulary here. I call it the Oprah effect, right? What's driving my passion for being in this industry is what I call the Oprah effect. And that is if you help another person, which Oprah did and still does, if you help another person, Precious, that you are then helping the person, the people, the ecosystem and the people who are in that person's network. So I always felt that if we as marketers could empower fintech firms, registered investment advisors, different types of companies, even the fintechs that help advisors to do a better job and to do an efficient job managing a portfolio. I always felt like my passion is the end game. My passion is who's that end client, because I know what it was like to struggle. I will never forget it. Our family will never forget it, going from apartment to apartment, moving here, moving there, living in 2-family houses. I mean, it was a real struggle growing up, a huge struggle. And I felt like I wish that my mother would have had access to the same type of knowledge, counseling, coaching, advising that normally people of wealth have. Yes, we made some really great decisions on our own. We were obviously very lucky. Education was our ticket out of that, that troubling time, right? And so it's that Oprah effect, and we create the outcomes. And part of the reason was for that. I was in an advisory capacity in a wealth management firm for almost 8 years. I can't tell you, I was there for almost every single prospect meeting and client meeting, and see women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s deal with different things. Lisa, I know that you are an amazing, divorce is up there, right? Was huge. Women coming in and not knowing how to, how to even access their financial records, not knowing anything that was going on. So part of that Oprah effect is, how are we empowering women to understand and to get to get a full understanding, so that nobody could take advantage of that woman. Like, my mother, case in point right now, totally transformed her life. That's why we do it. And I think you asked another oh yeah. Okay. Did I answer the question? I'm sorry.
That's what happens.
Yes.
Oh, we get on that soapbox, guys. We're all of a sudden, we get sucked in, and I'm really proud. I'm really proud of the work that Savvy Ladies is doing. I'm proud of the people that I had the good fortune to work from and learn from, and to see in real life how they affected a life of another person.
It's interesting because you talked about being lucky, okay? And I always say that it's not really luck, it's good fortune. A lot of people have good fortune. I feel like I have good fortune, but it's good fortune as opposed to luck because you worked so hard.
Come
You
on now.
talked about the fact that you were at every meeting, right? That you did certain things, that where your mom was a very big force in your life, obviously. And there's certain routes I think people take as a result of mentors, family members who significantly influence their perspective. I don't think that's luck. I think that is using skills, and that you had the good fortune to use those skills, and it worked for you, okay, and made you very successful. Besides your mom, is there anybody else in your life that was a mentor or another family member who actually did shape your approach and your perspective on finances? Obviously, your mom was a very strong factor. And, it's interesting because I know Stacey Francis very well. And Stacey, in her case, it was her grandmother who really shaped her perspective on finances, because she had been so abused, and to your point, couldn't get out of a marriage and stayed in, and to a very unfortunate end. So what else shaped your perspective and your focus and your approach?
So that was, and you like this, Lisa, my aunt was the first attorney in our family. So my mother was the oldest of 9 children. My grandparents never had any college education. I don't even think that they completed high school. And so yet they had 9 children, 7 sons, and 2 women. And so my mother's sister, my Aunt Gina, was the first woman in our family and the first in our family to pursue a law degree. And then she is, she's no longer practicing, but she was an estate planning attorney. And so it was my aunt that helped me through college. It was my aunt that gave me my first business suit and formal pen after graduating. I remember her even helping me with a couple of my papers that were very difficult to do. So, again, seeing that here's the hand that you're dealt, but then here's how you're going to make it work for you. Exactly. I mean, my mother's family has every reason in the world to not to be where they are today. And yet almost every single one of them, except for one, really pursued and believed that it was possible. And so my aunt just made me that early example. I was in, high school at the time. That proved to me oh, wow, you could grow up like this, but then you could move your life like that. For me, that was really exciting and extremely powerful because my aunt was and still is someone in my life, and my mother's only sister.
It's interesting. I had an experience today, and I got to speak before high school girls in a particular program. And you walk in and you see these beautiful young princesses, and they've touched some of the world, but not really. And as I walked in, I thought about, wow, I have confidence at 45. I didn't have it at their age. I've been in situations where I've been afraid to speak up and say things. But as I was sitting there talking to them and sharing parts of my story, it reminded me of times that I couldn't advocate for myself. And I always think, they asked me a question and I thought of Savvy Ladies. I thought that I wouldn't be here with the confidence that I have had I not met Stacy and Lisa and Judy and the board and the volunteers. And they opened up a new world to me to build that confidence and tell me who I am and push me forward in my business and in my life. And I wish that I had met them when I was young, because I probably would have been more hardcore and beast mode because of them. But I acknowledge that to our princesses. And in a male dominated industry in which you find yourself, what strategies have you found that were effective in making sure your voice is heard?
So first of all, I would say was working so hard that you gain the respect of the room. I have been so fortunate that I've had a lot of ambassadors, mentors. I have had, even though it's a male dominated industry, has worked incredibly well. I wouldn't have had it any other way. I've been, again, so blessed and treated so well by a lot of amazing, thought leaders in our industry. In terms of like getting my voice and what I understand where you're coming from, that confidence. And it definitely comes with every decade. I will say that it does. You get more kind of confident. I think because you care less of what people think. I think, right, for me, that was like really big. I had to just let go of that and say, like, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. There are parts of my personality that I can't shed because I was raised the way I was raised, and I can be intense. And I'm that Scorpio fire horse. I can't change the year I was born, the date that I was born, all of those things. But, I decided to use multimedia. I decided to start In the Suite. I decided to use podcasting. I decided to use social media. I decided to make pictures and videos that, even now are still on YouTube, and I'm producing content as well. And I'm not afraid to put myself out there because I know that it will repel the people who aren't meant to be in my life, and it will attract the people who are. And that's been in a male dominated industry. I just went last week. I went to Mission Barbecue here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, with an industry contact and friend who happens to be a male. Hey, Tina, I'm going to be in your area. Would love to see you. Love to grab a bite. Be like, okay, great, Charlie. Let's go to Mission. Again, the best people who have helped me in my career have been male dominated. But when I put myself out there and they could see what I was about, they could get a sense of who I am, what matters to me, what my values are, why I do what I do. And I'm really proud of that.
That makes perfect sense. And I think that we at Savvy Ladies, as you know, Precious, and Tina too, we always look at to our male allies as well,
So
because
true.
it's so important. And even at our gala, October 28th, folks, we will be honoring a male ally for sure, because they are so important in moving women forward. And it's not just women moving women forward, it's men moving women forward as well. So really important.
Ladies, are you ready to take control of your future? Do you dream of financial stability, freedom, and a life that truly deserves you?
For over 20 years, Savvy Ladies has empowered women from all walks of life to make smart financial choices, achieve our goals, and build a brighter future.
We built Savvy Ladies as a community of women supporting women. We offer free financial educational programs, a trusted helpline, and guidance and advice from America's top financial professionals.
You can access the financial helpline at savvyladies.org or where you get your apps under Savvy Ladies. Savvy Ladies equips you with the knowledge, confidence, and support you need to thrive. So don't wait. Join Savvy Ladies today and start building your financial confidence and well-being now. I think the other part that is so important, which I know you exude, frankly, is passion. And passion is the key that I think allows people to elevate their work to that next level, to make it a work of excellence. Because I think you could be mediocre, but to be excellent, you have to be passionate at what you do. And I was just, in the courtroom and I was in front of a judge and she talked about the fact that she is passionate about what she is doing. And that's what makes her a great judge. So what motivates you, Tina, to go above and beyond for your company and yourself?
Well, part of that, Lisa, is the DNA that I can't help my being and how I am. I work really, really hard, and things matter to me. It matters, everything that I do. In terms of what it means to right now go above and beyond, I mean, part of it is just that I get to be part of an amazing team at Intentionally every day. So marketing touches a lot of different aspects of the value chain. Designers, developers, content creators, strategists, leadership. And so we talked earlier about that Oprah effect, right, Lisa? That Oprah effect doesn't happen without the team that I'm so fortunate to work with. Yes, I contribute a lot, but and Ashley, who I know is amazing, and here on this call, I want to give her a shout out. I mean, it's just a perfect example. I am so excited to see this next generation of talent come through, and what it means if I were to have had the opportunity to be at Intentionally so early on in my career, it would have it, and it's still even later in my career affected the trajectory of my life. And again, back to that Oprah effect, right? Groups of people doing really meaningful work together because they are all need one another. They all need one another. That's what goes out into the universe. That's what has that magical kind of divine effect. I see it at Savvy Ladies. I was at your gala last year at the Salesforce Tower, and I was truly electrified.
Yep.
Lisa, I was electrified. You were at the podium. You were introducing those male allies. You were introducing those award winners, and talking about and introducing Stacy and talking about the backdrop of Savvy Ladies and the 20th anniversary and why we're here. Precious, I remember you and your personal story. And I think we all agree that, we're nothing without each other.
True.
Just by ourselves floating around on an island. Who wants to do that? So my passion is because of what I see, what it's doing both internally and externally, and how it's having a meaningful impact in other people. That's what drives me.
And it's true. We really can't do any of this alone. And now I kind of want to go in a different direction because, in all honesty, no matter how excellent you are, no matter how great work you do, life is going life, right? Life be life. So when there's a health scare, which is challenging, and you have the responsibilities of being a mother, a daughter, and the chief of your community, it's tough. It's got to be even tougher. Can you share with us how you managed your health crisis? And how did you manage your roles? And also, who was there when times got really, really rough?
Yeah, well, today is one of those times, ladies. Ladies and gentlemen listening, I might even get a little weepy here.
Bring it. That's what we need.
Today is one of those challenges. I mean, there's a reason why you see this beautiful bouquet of flowers here that was sent to me by my business partner, Kelly Waltrick. I am navigating stage 4 lung cancer. And it's really, really hard. Really hard. Super, super hard. It makes like every challenge that I ever had in business and growing up seem like nothing. So it's as what I'm going through is hard. It's unimaginable. It is, and I was listening to your podcast with Julie Alma-Tavares and talking about her dad and having that cancer. And so I'm at a point in my life where life is so precious. I'm a grandmother. I've finally made it to a point in my career where I have a little bit of financial stability and the ability to travel and do things that I dreamt about, going to Savvy Ladies and the gala and wearing a beautiful dress and going into New York City and, and being there. It takes a lot. I would say that the most important, obviously my kids, Rachel and Dave and my mother has been huge. My mother and Mark, there's never been a doctor visit that I've had to go alone. And I go to a lot of them, ladies. It's a lot. I get brain scans, I get MRIs, CT scans, PETs. I've got like operations, surgery, chemo, radiation, you name it, I've done it. Okay, I've done it. So again, it goes back to who's that inner circle, who's that inner board of directors. And on the professional side, I've been so blessed by, I know I've mentioned her a lot, but Kelly Waltrick and her checking in and being supportive and, hey, what can we do and how can we help? And that really matters. And then my care team, I've got oncologists, radiologists, acupuncturists, therapists. Like, again, you need it because you can't get past, you can't even take a step forward without having that team. And they helped me through the difficult times. Today is, again, it's been a very, very difficult week for me and my family. And God helps too. I say that my sense of faith, although sometimes I get a little angry. I get a little angry and a little upset that I'm in, that I'm where I'm at. My church has been also too, very supportive. So if you're going to go through anything unimaginable, whether or not that's health or whether or not that's finance or, even, physical and sexual abuse, you need to get help. You can't do it alone. You won't be able to move the needle, and it's crushing at times. So I've been really lucky that I've been surrounded, and I keep on adding to the internal board of directors. I'm like, oh God, how are we going to get through this, guys? So I hope that inspires anybody listening that's going through a really hard time. And Savvy Ladies is amazing like this. Like, you have a helpline. Call that helpline. Get in touch with the helpline. Ask for help. That's how you're able to navigate through any crisis, but especially a health crisis like what I'm going through right now.
Tina, I have to say thank you, first of all, for being so honest,
Yes,
and open about this. Obviously, we wish you the very, very best. But I have to also say that you are truly a hero. And I'm going to say that because in my line of work, I deal with so many people going through a lot of different issues, right? And I am always struck by people who are going through health issues like yourself and how they are able to come onto a podcast with such grace and have this discussion, okay, or frankly, go to the courthouse
Come on.
and do what they need to do at the courthouse. And then I am struck by those people who can't get any of it together, who have no health issues, right? And they are just overwhelmed with just getting anything together for the day, right? Here you are, like you could have canceled, you could have said, I can't do it today. But you didn't do that. Okay. And I have so much admiration for you for being here and sharing all of this with us. And we are here for you. And you're right. Savvy Ladies is a place that women can go to. They can go on the helpline at savvyladies.org, and they should go on it, and they will be paired free of charge with financial advisors who financial professionals who can help them with their financial issues and questions and all of that. And you are somebody who has faced unbelievable obstacles. And I'm going to say, you know, what advice do you have for these listeners who are listening, who are facing unexpected obstacles, whether it be health or financial or, divorce or, and there are so many things that happen to people in life because life is very complex, as you know. And what advice do you have to give to people who are facing these unexpected obstacles, who to for them to actually proceed through and have hope and faith and be able to move to the next step?
I would say the first thing that comes to mind, Lisa, as you were asking that question, is vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable, right? In order to ask for help. Like um, I have been, I have been very, very vulnerable. and I mean, one of the things that I said, because before all this happened, I was very active on social media. And I said that I don't want my social media to be a hit reel. Like, I don't want it to just be one type of content. Like, this thing happened to me. And so it's like, oh, should we fake it today on social media? Should we say, hey, great day, everybody. Look at the flowers I got, Or I felt a responsibility to be open, be totally transparent. And so even when I was going through hard financial times, I remember the aunt that I spoke about lent me, um, gave me a loan to pay off my undergrad. I self-funded my undergrad and I self-funded my grad. And, because when you're open and you're totally transparent and you let the world in, that's when help comes. And so if you're going to be afraid about what other people think or be afraid about how other people are judging you, and that happens no matter what, because that's just human nature. I mean, I'm well aware of that, right? I just don't care. The people that matter, the people who matter to me know who they are. And that's beyond family, friends, community, even just people that I've met on social media, um, that have like inspired me through their own stories. And I binge watched when this first happened. I binged watch YouTube, cancer survivor, lung cancer survivor. Show me survivorship. Show me what that looks like, sounds like, feels like, all of that. And so, my advice to everyone listening right now, going through any kind of challenge, even if you're being physically abused by a partner, you need to let that go. You need to talk to somebody. You need to tell somebody, because your life isn't going to change if you walk around in this magical fairy tale that everything is okay.
Exactly.
Some days in my life, everything is amazing. And some days in my life, things are so hard, I can't even feel like I want to get out of bed, because this is very, very, very crushing, you know? There's help. Again, I applaud the work of Savvy Ladies and Stacy having the foresight to create just a helpline. Just ask her. You could be anonymous. I mean, look, I grew up in the days before the internet. There was no such thing as getting help. Maybe you called like a toll-free 800 number and not necessarily knew who we were speaking to, but also too, you need help from qualified professionals. Let me just say that, right? It's not just anyone. If you're looking for financial guidance, Savvy Ladies will, match you up. If you need an advisor, you want people who are credentialed, who work hard, who can show you a track record of achievement. Lisa, you have an amazing track record yourself. You've been extremely successful here, right? People know when they're dealing with you that you are the person. You have, so it's important to ask for help, but it's important to get help from the right people. We talked a little bit about my mother in the beginning. My mother's not going to be taken advantage of. Sorry. Whoever's trying to swindle her with the latest Amazon delivery is here. Can you please enter your phone number, social security number, driver's license to give our driver? My mother is like, no, sorry. Smart. We need to be smart. We need to work with smart people. We need to learn from smart people. Don't step into the same bear trap twice if we can. So look for qualified people who know what the heck they're doing. On top of that, when you do get the help, don't take help from anyone.
I know that's right.
Right? Right, Precious?
Great advice.
So, Queen Tina, now that you have an awareness of vulnerability and asking for what you need and being open, how are you applying that or even compassion to yourself, especially at times like this in your personal and your professional life?
I'm working really hard, Precious, to stay in the moment. I'm working really hard on that mindfulness and not letting my mind go too far ahead into the future. And I'm taking steps. I'm doing the work that's really hard. I don't want to take a walk. I will take a walk. I might not want to take an infrared sauna. I will take an infrared sauna. I'd love to have a glass of wine. When I had my cancer diagnosis, I did some of the research and reading. Guess what? Alcohol does not work well with cancer patients and people being treated. So, I continue to do the work and make the tough decisions. And that kind of behavior is really tough. And, I look at just ways that also too, that I could give back and help other people. I know many people, even young people, surprisingly young people in their 30s who are battling lung cancer as well as different cancer diagnosis. So, I put a package in the mail over the weekend to a friend to, give them some positivity. And so, the way that I'm applying it is saying, okay, how can I continue to make a difference, even on a very small scale, even if it's just one-to-one, even just me showing up. And yes, thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Precious, for seeing that. I wanted to honor our commitment. We had a commitment today. I gave you my word that I would be here. And it's not about me coming and being like, oh, yep, my hair, look at how it was about me just showing up. And I know that somebody's going to listen to this, and I know that they're going to be affected. And I know somebody will make I want people to make a split decision. I want people to say, you know what? I don't feel like talking to that person. I don't feel like asking the help. I just feel like, getting back in bed and just turning on the Olympics or something. I hope that me being here inspires somebody to say, you know what? No way. This is like, it's out of control. I gotta ask for help. And we always have the ability to affect another person. You don't have to be Oprah for that. You don't have to work in finance for that. You could just one person to another. How did you brighten somebody's day? How did you uplift another person? How did you deposit something in the universe that had a meaningful impact to somebody else? That's what I think about. That's how I apply it every single day. I push myself.
You know, as I said to you, I've watched so many people going through so many different, life events, right? And when you're a divorce attorney, you see people over a period of time, and you see that they have health issues, some serious health issues, like yourself, and issues with their children, and issues with obviously their divorces, and financial issues, and life keeps moving on, and they have to get through it. And I am full of admiration for you. I really am. And showing up is a huge thing. I'm going to say that it's a huge thing that you showed up today. Because I think I would have wanted to just crawl into bed, and it takes a lot not to do that. And to live in the moment. I think it takes an incredible amount of strength to do that, because it's much easier just to crawl into bed. Let's face it. So again, I really admire you for that, Tina. And then it takes a huge amount to essentially keep alive that this passion that you have for building community, and you've spoken about it today, and to expand your legacy, and to do all of this as you're going through all of these different difficulties, to say the least, in your life. So, what would you say are three things that keep your passion alive for building community and for expanding your legacy? What are your top three things that actually motivate you to do that?
I would say, first of all, my kids, my, they're both married and they each have a daughter. They've managed their finances and their life so well. And now they're even married, managing parenting on top of that. I was like, oh, wow, look at it. Like, it's really, really impressed. So you see the totality of your decisions and the totality of your life through the lens of your kids, and where they are today and where they're going to be in the future. So my passion's alive because I see them, and I know that they're going to, perpetuate and kind of and break the cycle and start their own traditions, which I'm really, really proud of. I would say the next, my professional life has always been really, really important. I wouldn't be able to have the financial wherewithal to, and I am divorced too, by the way, Lisa. And yes, that is really super hard. I will tell you, it is up there. And yes, it causes a lot of bad health things. So if you're divorced, please make sure that you're maintaining your health on top of that.
Right.
But the community, and intentionally my work, and seeing what effect my work has in the greater universe, that also too really, really helps me, because I see this next generation of talent that is just crushing it. And I love it. I love to see young people in financial services not being afraid, just coming in, giving their best. And that also too is me really inspiring, because I see what it does for their personal growth, and that just electrifies me. And I would say the other thing is, my community can touch a lot of different circles, your professional life, your personal life. I happen to have just an amazing support team around me of family, friends, church, coworkers, friends, family, people that I've met at longevity too. Like I said, there's help available, and there are nonprofits for lung cancer. Every month I'm on a Zoom call with about, I don't know, almost 30 people who are in similar situations to me. So it's, the ability to help people that you might not even know. You might not even know that you're helping them. I just feel a fundamental responsibility for me to just show up as me, in hopes that it could help somebody, it could benefit another person the way that another person has done it for me. It's this like pay it forward principle. I talked a little bit in the beginning about how I binge watched YouTube, how I looked for podcasts on lung cancer, like trying to get the fundamental knowledge of that and finding different people. There are people on Instagram, cancer survivors, cancer patients who inspire me every day. They have no idea that I felt. They have no idea who I am, right? They have no idea. That is like, that means something to me. And I want to pay it forward in the same way that somebody gave a gift to me.
Oh, Queen, we've come down to what is always our final question. Why is the power of the ass so important to women, especially financially? And why is it so critical right now?
Because, Precious, if you don't ask, you don't get. Okay? Let's just drum roll here. One more I'll say it for the back room here.
Say it for the peeps in the back.
Exactly. If you don't ask, you don't get. Yesterday, for example, and again, I'll take it to the health thing because we're talking a lot about health here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meeting with my oncologist yesterday. And one of the things that I've learned from other cancer patients, survivors, has been the ability to become part of a clinical trial. And I said to my oncologist yesterday, I said, hey, is at this conference, and there were advanced stages of cancer there, people talking about the things that we've got to do. And one of them was to become part of a clinical trial. I said, do I need to hire somebody to be like my clinical trial representative to make sure that I am aware of all of the clinical trials that exist? And my oncologist said, no, we're here to do that for you. We're here to do that. If I would have said nothing, Precious Lisa, if I would have said nothing yesterday, I would have walked right out. I would have called it a day, and not saying that my oncologist wouldn't have like recommended it at some point, but gosh darn, I want to be in that trial today, not 2 years from now. I want to be in it today. And I needed her to know, and I needed to ask for that. And I asked for that. My mother was there, Mark was there, and they're just looking like this. And I was like, what? And I was very adamant about it. Like, what do I need to do? Just tell me if I need to hire somebody, or if you're going to make sure that this happens, then great. You need to put the people on your team who, look, I pay for these services, right? You need to put them to work and put them in charge and ask for the things that you want unequivocally. So that's what I would say. Please ask, speak up. That's why I love this podcast and I love this message. It is the power of the ask. It's such a fantastic and fabulous name. But if you don't ask, you don't get, and you can't do that to yourself. We're not going to let it happen, right, ladies?
That's exactly right. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Bam.
Well, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the Savvy Ladies Power of the Ass podcast brings on the best guests when we get into all sorts of things, including financial things for women. We want you to be able to negotiate. We want you to ask for what you want. We want you to stop waiting and start asking. And so as we come back with every episode, we want you to watch, subscribe, share with your friends and your network, because we get better and better and better. And we want to make sure we're bringing on the guests and talking about the topics that really, really resonate with you right now. So keep coming back. Queen Lisa and I and the Savvy Ladies are honored to host this podcast and to bring you queens like Tina every episode.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Precious.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Precious. So much.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Power of the Ass, ladies.
Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to spread the love with #PowerOfTheAss.